All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Hakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, salutations to the hopeful elect that's fighting a good fight of faith and truth, in sincerity and wholeheartedly. Shalom to the Akwath, which is the women believers. Shalom to you. All praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Caution. This is a rumor alert. Lord willing, it happens. But we got to report on these things. So April 20th, which is Sunday, and this been a rumor all over the news. Could Trump invoke the Insurrection Act, and what powers that give him? So the Insurrection Act of 1807, because I don't want to make this video too long, it's a martial law bill. All right. So not to get in too deep into the particulars, it's martial law. So it says social media posts have warned for more than a month that President Donald Trump would declare martial law on April 20th, which typically means suspend civil law while the military takes control of civilian functions such as courts. So that's what it is. And it said, but many of the posts appear to conflate martial law with potential innovation of the Insurrection Act of 1807, which was mentioned in recent executive order. So you want to know what's the irony of this? The day before, this is the only reason why I'm even making a video on this. The day before, it's supposed to be a worldwide protest. Now, let me show you that real quick. Come on now. So, list of cities hosting nationwide anti-Trump protests on Saturday, April 19th. So, you see how they correlate and they go hand in hand? So, everything is lining up. Either way, if shit don't go down this weekend, it's still going to happen. You could actually make this rumors of war, because martial law is war. It's war against the, civilians. But, this is going to happen. And as you see what the protest is about, it's anti-Trump. So Trump, he started with a lot of friends and he's making a lot of enemies by his policies. All his policies is targeting the working class. And, all the way back in his first term, he was giving tax breaks to the rich. And he's still doing that in the way of tariffs, because the business owners is going to be the ones who, really, they're going to lose out, but they'll be making more money than the person who have to pay the money, but it's going to come to a point where people ain't going to have the money to buy goods. So they're going to lose money too. But in the beginning, they're going to have, money. So, so the reason I'm showing this is because you got the so-called martial law, the Insurrection Act of 1807 on the 20th, and the day before, it's, as I said, list of cities hosting nationwide anti-Trump protests. You might look at it, a wave of protests is set to sweep across all 50 states on Saturday, April 19th, organized by the grassroots group 50501 in opposition to President Donald Trump policies. And executive action since returning to office in January. Organizers cite concerns over civil liberties, judicial independence, and what they describe as an authoritarian overreach. So yeah, all 50 states. And they just had one 2 Saturdays ago. It was a protest against Donald Trump and Elon Musk. It was called Hands Off. So as you see, this is literally what's going on. And that's why I said everything is lining up. Because these set of scriptures right here, and this is all I gotta get, we are literally in this time. It said, woe unto the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and her destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. So eventually these protests is going to get dangerous. It's going to be bullets flying, bodies dropping, because it's prophetic. So, and you also got to recognize too that these Edomites, especially these war veterans, they're not going to take too kindly of the military, coming on their street and trying to dictate their life. That's why in Isaiah 19:2 it said the Egyptians versus the Egyptians. The Lord said, I will set the Egyptians versus the Egyptians, which means that's the kingdom divided, and that means that it ain't going to stand for too much longer. All right. So, for there should be sedition, which is an inciting speech against the government, an overthrow, a revolution. That's what protest is about. One of these protests is going to come to a head, and everything that we've been prophesying about is going to come to pass. For there should be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. In that time, ain't nobody trying to hear what the president got to say, what the police got to say, what the governor got to say. All right, people going to take powers into their own hands, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Now, martial law right here. So, the first three scriptures will lead to martial law, as it's saying. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city, it shall not be able. That's martial law right there. So, you see how things are lining up? This is just a rumor alert, because the martial law is supposed to be 2 days from now. All right, Sunday. No, 3 days from now. And then the protest the day before that. So, that will be a perfect plan for an agent provocateur to be in those protests to cause martial law, to do something crazy. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Because when these things come to pass, it's not going to be a light thing. It's not going to be something that you're just going to be able to, skim past and act like this don't concern you. If you're not a man or a woman of the Lord, this will concern you, because this judgment is for you. As it's saying in 1 Thessalonians 5:9, the Lord have not appointed us to wrath, but salvation through Yahushua HaMashiach. Okay? So, us is talk about the hopeful elect, the ones who actually believe in Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, the one who actually try to keep the commandments to the best of their ability, and don't say that it's asinine to do that. Yeah. So anyways, this is what's going to happen. Men is going to be afraid. All of this coincides with Jacob's trouble. Because one thing that you got to understand, Jake is still the number one hated nation on the earth. This would give them an excuse to go after Jake. It might start off as Edomite versus Edomites, but then it's like, ooh, look at that nigga over there. Let's get him. This is our time. Do you understand that these Edomites been itching? Remember, these are the same spirits that are back. The ancient hatred never went away. So don't think that, you start to see all these protesting and to say martial law do happen. Remember, the scripture says that the Lord said he's going to set all nations against Jerusalem. Let me see if I can find that real quick. I think it's 14. Let's see. Yep. Behold, the day of Yahweh cometh, and your spoil shall be divided in the midst of you. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, the house rifled, the women ravished, half of the city shall go forth into captivity. All right. The devil shall cast some of you into prison, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. That's the elect. All right. Because everybody that's man or woman of the Lord is not going to taste death. It's only, special few that's going to be martyrs. But yeah, so 19, a man should have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and great tribulation. And in that time, when martial law happens, I mean, you can't leave your house. Whatever's in your house, that's what you got. All right? And guess what? The military got some big ass guns. So you think you gonna escape? You gonna escape with your life? All right. So but I just wanted to report on that because these things is scriptural. Let's see if I can find the other one real quick. Got so much of this stuff. But yep. So hey, let's see. Sunday. Come on, Trump. Bring it on. All right. Get these prophecies even more in motion. All right. So stay prayed up. Seek ye out the Lord while he may be found. As you see, time is ticking. All right. Stop playing games. That's why the scripture said, watch and pray. Shalom.